What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 7 of the Dudeality podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, as always, joined by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're 4 ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan.
We need some nicknames.
I mean, I came up with
some
one.
titles. We need some titles. Hey, happy Valentine's Day to all the homies here and ladies at home. What y'all do, man?
Day, man?
What y'all do?
Nothing. All the roads are frozen over.
Keep it PG, guys. Keep it PG. We're at home all day, so keep it PG.
Man, I wish it wasn't PG. Got all these kids around.
That don't mean no.
Yeah, keep it PG.
Jonathan likes an audience.
Oh, we can edit that out right now.
Anyways, authentic. We're authentic.
That was straight something else. Anyway, they started pretty. It was pretty good, solid day. Just got my wife some. I got my wife, kids, chocolates. My wife some flowers. Got my daughter a flower. So it started that way. Had a good breakfast. So we made cinnamon rolls, waffles. So we bought the cinnamon rolls and we had the waffle machine.
Just pressed them
into a waffle. Yeah. So that was pretty good.
I've done that before with the burger as a bun. Like I put cinnamon rolls in a waffle maker.
Oh yeah,
as a bun. I think it's on Instagram.
Yeah. So I think my wife saw it somewhere on social media.
Probably me.
Good idea.
Plug.
So it was good. That was good. And then we made our own charcuterie board for us.
Let's talk about that real quick. Liz just launched her business, Victor's wife. What's it called?
Yeah, so boards by Liz, and then logos coming out, websites coming out pretty soon. So this was like we did a little soft launch.
How many orders?
We officially got so we got five orders. So that was pretty good. So again, it was a little start. We didn't promote like heavy or anything like that. And so we're gonna.
And it was hard. The weather was going against y'all. People didn't want to drive out here in Austin.
Yeah. So so everything really within a week, we kind of pushed to just get it done. It's like it's now or never type of thing, and now we're just rolling.
Yeah, man, congrats. The best thing about that is just doing it.
Yeah, that's really the hardest part.
Just do it.
Getting over the fear of doing something that you've never done before. So,
what about you fellas?
For me, we were going to go to the movies and go out to dinner, and we were actually on the way to the movie that we had already purchased, and then the theater called us telling us that they are shutting down.
That was nice of
them. Yeah, and they were refunding the money. So we were on our way there when they called us, and then we looked at the restaurant we were going to go to, and they were shut down too. So we're like, because we always do a movie and Mexican food. That's what we've always done since our first Valentine's together. So so we ended up just stopping at the store since we were already out, and then just picked up some stuff to make some enchiladas and just watch movies at home.
You went to HEB?
Yeah.
Boy, let me tell you, me and Desi usually go out to eat, but not on the actual day of Valentine's Day. Like that's overrated. But unfortunately, we can't go out anywhere because of the weather here in Austin. And so I went to HEB like last night. I was like, hey, I'm gonna pick up some steak and some lobster. And I go to HEB, bro. There's literally nothing on these shelves. I took a picture. There's no meat. There's no chicken. There's nothing but jalapeno poppers. Literally, the only thing that was on the shelf was jalapeno poppers. I was all like, oh my God. And it wasn't even because of Valentine's Day. Because these people think that we're going to be locked in here with like 30 inches of snow for like 6 months. So they just want to hoard everything.
The cashier was saying like people have been buying the most random things they were selling out the most random things. Like she was saying yesterday, everyone was just buying garlic and shallots for some reason.
Getting ready for vampires, fool.
Yeah.
Like Ian building, Ian prepping the house for the lost power. Go buying
I didn't
garlic,
I didn't go buy nothing,
crosses.
but I mean, so for those of you that don't know, the temperature currently in Austin is 16 degrees in Austin, Texas. That's stupid.
We're not used to
The,
that down
That's
here.
the high today
at
was
all.
what?
So if anybody's
28.
listening, we
It's
normally
nuts.
dip to 27, probably the lowest it'll get just for like a day, and then it'll bounce back up to the 30s. That's how our winters usually go.
And that's a
This
low.
one, yeah, that's our low. This time, I've seen single digits on the radar, the weather. I was like, oh
Mhm.
hell nah.
Yeah, and
No,
it says
sir.
it feels like -2 right now.
I like
the
no, sir.
Yeah, some areas said the wind chill is gonna get to -20. This is the last one I saw.
Man, our
Forget
trees are falling. Our trees can't even
that.
hold up, man. They're falling all over the place. It's not good out there, man.
Crazy.
They look pretty cool though. But yeah, and that's what I mean. So Thursday, was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday at 11 I lost power, and I didn't get power until Friday at like 5. So they were ragging on me for getting prepared, but I was just getting batteries and water and just
We were
little-
just
little
bragging about you getting
essential
prepared
stuff.
for the loss of power. Is that you went a no-show in the text there for like 3.5 hours, and like what I missed, I was prepping the house for loss of power, and I was like, "What'd you do? Light a candle? Like it takes you 3 hours to put some batteries in a flashlight?
I
Like,
mean, if we
did
if
you
we
go
want,
chop wood in the backyard?"
if we want to get technical, I can go verbatim about what the text thread was. It was more of like a
was
comedy
hilarious.
act
Hey.
question, as in, what the hell did I miss? Because there was some stuff in there that was a little sus.
He'll get up,
But
go turn the water slightly on so it doesn't freeze, sit down, then go to the other room, turn it slightly on, then go sit down, go light a candle here in a couple minutes. I'm gonna go light a candle over there. Speaking of candles, man, y'all see Chris's little candle lips reading the
Dude,
book?
I thought that book was gonna catch fire. That was how that close. Literally, candle.
Flames.
I think he was trying to get it close enough to his chest area. I don't know what kind of book you're reading, buddy.
No, man, it was
50
just, it was
Shades.
just, I just wanted some
Shades.
light, and I was afraid that
Shades
my
a bit
dog was gonna
inside
try
the
to knock
book.
it over.
You were hoping the dog knocked over.
Yeah, right.
Hey, real quick, guys, a little cool topic. We all had a dream car growing up, right? Like, I want to know, what's your dream car? Is it still your dream car?
I had a
Man,
few.
Damn, that was a long pause.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I had a few. Like my cars were the Lamborghini Diablo, a Jaguar XJ 220, and the Ferrari F50.
Now, did y'all play with cars growing up, like Hot Wheels? Were y'all into Hot Wheels?
Yeah, I collected more model cars than actually play with Hot Wheels, but yeah.
I did Hot Wheels, model cars. Vic a little confused. I think he was with the Barbies and house bacon.
how'd you know, man?
I could tell by the face.
The
when
easy
I was
bake
talking about
oven.
cars, you were like, I don't know too much about that.
I wasn't into cars much, man. I played sports. I was an outdoor kid. I wasn't playing inside doors, playing with my cars, pretending I had friends. I had real friends playing outside. So
we just
as
throwing
far as
shade
cars,
I wish you would have played more.
I'm sure you did too.
Hey, let's talk about this
if-
real quick. Ian and Chris, who's the better ball player, me or Victor? If you had to pick somebody to be on your team, who's the better ball player?
You can't pick. Y'all are two different styles.
Yeah, totally two different styles. Like, if you want to actually get the ball, you'll pick Vic. But
If you want to win,
I'm the most for sure bucket. This guy will break maybe 5.
oh my
and then
God, bro.
he'll
I'm
make
going to get
one.
the W. You can rely on me to get the game.
After 5 breaks.
100%. It don't matter. You don't even get the game. You
So
don't
when
get the game.
Here, I'll give, this is all I'd love too. So when it comes to being the quickest, like the quickest step is Jonathan.
Yeah.
And if you want to do like a little step back, he'll shoot threes all day and they look good because out of the 30 he shoots, he'll make 12. But overall,
Volume shooter.
overall baller, I'll give Victor, because Victor can either step back and pull up on you, or he'll act like he's gonna pull up and then drive on you and take it strong to the hole. But again, it's two different styles, so you can't really compare.
I guess I'm a point guard that doesn't pass the ball.
So you're shooting guard. Then you're shooting guard.
I told you, Kyrie, man. Kyrie don't pass the ball. Nah, all joking aside, we joke around, but
Yeah,
Jay's pretty good.
I do get the most dubs. I do get the most dubs.
In 21, but not when we play team.
No, we get team. I get up there.
I'll be honest, I get tired. Like twos on
Big
twos
gets
on
tired
twos,
quick,
three
dog.
on threes. Oh
That's
man, I
just-
get tired,
That's
bro.
just some age. Use a couple.
I get tired quick. Like when we play 4 or 5, I'm good. I can rest. I can rest on defense a little bit.
All right, let's go
Play
back
zone.
to this car situation. Vic, did you have a car growing up? Were you just like, man, that's my
Man, not really. Be honest, I like Lamborghinis, like like those type of cars. But mine growing up really was just having a BMW, like a nice BMW. I forgot what the name was growing up, but I always thought a BMW was like the it type of car. And now when you grow up, I'm like, I don't even want a BMW. You know how much it costs to fix those things when they break down.
Trouble. There's
I know,
a lot of trouble.
Your insurance is expensive on those too.
But I'll say Lamborghini. I'll go Lamborghini.
And
Yeah. I really didn't have a favorite one. I mean, I play with like cars and stuff like that. I guess if I had a favorite car I wanted, it was more of a truck, like a Ford Raptor, but like souped up with like nice stuff, nice rims,
yeah,
little toolbox in the back, some steps on the side, even though I don't need them. Yeah.
Trucks grew on me here in Texas. I wasn't a big
Same here.
guy.
Same
When I
here.
came to Texas, I was like, man, these trucks be looking good out here.
I know. I never really looked at trucks until I moved out here.
I didn't look at trucks until I became a CG trainer, and I saw all the like high end trucks, the big monster trucks, and I was like, whoa, man. Then I started picturing myself like, man, I want that truck right there, and that's all I could think about. But growing up, and still to this day, it holds true. Is
Honda Civic.
Lamborghini Diablo. I had all the color Lamborghini Diablos. I collected all of them. I played with all of them, and still this day, if I can ever get an investment to pay for my Lamborghini Diablo, that's gonna be the first car I buy. Is a Lamborghini Diablo that I'm not really gonna. Somebody else gonna pay for. It's an investment. If I was to buy it, it's gonna be that Lambo. That Diablo.
How much is
I'll be the
those run?
douchebag. I'll be the douchebag with that bad boy. I'll be whatever people want to say. I'll ride it.
How much is those run? Like, how much is that one of those?
So
I'm
me
not-
and Chris actually looked it up.
Oh yeah.
It ranges, right? Depending on the
But the Diablo, like, I mean, they don't make them anymore,
I
so
know,
it's
I
probably
know.
I don't know if it'd be cheaper because they're going to be older, or if it's more of a collectible, so it's going to be more expensive. I'm not too sure.
I think they're cheaper if I look back at it. But me and Chris, if we're looking at the cheapest Lambo you can buy is about 120. The cheapest
it?
one you can buy, yeah.
Like,
Because then they
very
get up to
base
around
model.
290, almost 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
okay.
least, yeah.
Y'all can combine and just y'all every other weekend. Y'all
Nah,
have
we can
it.
just
Y'all
all
treat it like a
rotate.
kid.
Joint
Like a
custody.
kid.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan to me. All right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the topic of today, which is
It
Credit.
is going to be just a little bit about credit and debt and like credit cards in general, just misconceptions, and see where most people think, like what they think about credit cards, and
they're the devil.
then what like you can actually get from a credit card. So like
Debt.
let's start out with what did you always like hear growing up, like when they talk about credit cards?
Off the bat, something that you can't afford, you can make a big purchase and pay it in monthly payments. It's like layaway, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Something I know I can't afford, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna make monthly payments on that bad boy, and eventually find out that I can't even make the monthly payments on it.
Yeah, for me, it was just like it was like a thing to have. Like my parents had like so many credit cards, like for every department store, I think we had a credit card for.
You're right.
Getting
Like
points.
it was
You're
just a thing.
right.
Like growing up, I really thought like, oh, you're supposed to get a credit card. So you buy stuff from like these department stores. Like Jay said, things you couldn't afford, get a credit card for it. You'll get it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly what it was for. If you can't buy it, get a credit card for it.
Only $25 a month. I can do that. Can you?
What about you, Ian? What did you used to like hear about credit cards? Or
Credit cards, nothing really. I mean, I guess just from my own like knowledge when I first got one was it's I saw it as free money when it wasn't really free money, but like the concept of how bad it was to like miss a payment and stuff like that. It was just money in my pocket as a kid, so I spent it and didn't pay it.
So I thought one of you would say like how you were always told like, oh, don't use credit cards. Like,
Nah, man,
Nah.
I came from broke. The broke mindset. We want the credit
Yeah.
cards because we don't make enough
So-
money to live on our own,
So,
brother.
Like before, I mean, growing up, I would
That
say
might
like,
be middle class. That's middle class,
Yeah.
maybe. I wasn't middle class.
But we did go through a rough patch. Like my family, my dad, my mom, they filed for bankruptcy because they had so many credit cards. My dad lost his job, and like a lot of things happened all of a sudden. They couldn't pay all this stuff, so I actually filed for bankruptcy. Like back in the day, and that was kind of that. Just looking at that was like, oh man, that's like credit cards was bad, but it wasn't good. Just the way you use it. But I still didn't know exactly. I still had in my mind the way, like, okay, just you can get a credit card. Just make sure like not to overuse it. That's probably the only like lesson I could have got, but that was it. Like nothing more than just that. And just make sure to make your payments on time. We're gonna file for
My
bankruptcy.
lesson was be careful. Just that was always the word around credit cards. Be careful. Right? Because most of the people that were around me were in credit card debt. So the only advice they can give me wasn't really the best advice,
Yeah.
but because they didn't really know, because they were still into credit card debt themselves. So they didn't know. So their advice was just be careful. I'm in a whole lot of right now. And so just be careful.
As I grew up though, I think when my parents came out of that bankruptcy, with my mom's advice has always been use it and then pay it off like
Pay it
real
off.
quick.
I'm
That
glad
was
you
it.
said. I'm glad you said that because we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But yeah. So like I said, I expected you at least one of you, but I thought most of you would say like, oh, yeah, I heard just like don't use it. Like you don't want to use credit cards. Like they're bad. You can get yourself in trouble. Like that's stuff you hear all the time. Like people talk about when you hear about credit cards. So before we even get into that, I want to say like, how do you guys feel about cash?
Right now or like back
Just
then?
like, just in general, like,
I just need
how do you
more
feel
of
about
it.
like using cash?
I don't have enough. Yeah.
Well, not, yeah, I mean, obviously, like as far as using cash to pay for things, like.
I got you. So I will say right now, I'm a lot smarter as far as managing the money I have. So if like for example, I'm gonna purchase a new car. I think the normal person would have gone, oh, let's go to the dealership, let's get a new car. All right. But my mindset right now is I don't need to do that. I can part raise the money to buy a car cash, not a brand new car, right? But I'd rather use that cash. And so when it comes to a big purchase, in my mind, I'd rather pay it in cash if I have the ability to, than finance it and then just pay instead of paying that compound interest over time and end up paying, $8,000, I end up paying $10,000 instead. So that's kind of where my mindset is right now. Just very basic of just that thought process. All right. Yeah. So
For
that's
me, cash is trash, brother. Like listen, read a lot of books, get a financial advisor, put people like Chris on your side, and you'll learn real quick. You've been doing it wrong the entire time. And I actually now looking at it, I'm all for credit cards, learning the strategic behind it. And why use cash when you can use credit if you know how to take care of your credit? You can get something back with that credit. Like there's benefits to that credit as versus using cash. You're not really getting anything back.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful when you talk to me, Chris. I'll throw it all out there.
All right, Ian.
For me, cash. I don't know. I'm not as well educated. I haven't read the same books yet, but I'm gonna get there. But for me, cash right now, and I say unfortunately because it kind of dictates what happens around me. But it's gold for me because without cash, I can't provide. That makes sense. So that's why I got you on the picture and show me the goodness.
Yeah. My kids, if you can go ask them right now, like, what do you think about cash? They'll say trash, like off the bat.
Well, because I would think, like, I mean, when you hear most people like, oh, try to pay everything in cash. You don't want to use, like you like I was saying before, you don't want to use credit cards if you don't have to. That way you're not gonna get charged interest later on, and like so on and so forth. But before I get into why I think credit cards are good, instead of using, I'd rather use credit cards over cash. I just want to give you a little background. First of all, I'm not a professional. I don't get paid to do this kind of stuff. But what I originally got into credit card just because I love to travel. So I was learning on how to travel like cheap. And then so I started learning, like how many benefits you can get from credit cards, just to travel alone. So then like I just grew, like I got really into it, and then I started learning more about credit, and I was like, well, I'm gonna need to start building credit to buy a house and buy a car, and like anything that I need, you're gonna need credit for. So I got real hooked onto it. But then I met some people, like their credit wasn't as good, and I was doing well. Like I bumped my credit score up. At the time, it was still in the 700s, but now it's in the 800. And I just like I had a friend. I actually asked him yesterday if it was okay if I used the story, like because I mean I don't want to put people's business out there if they don't want it. But he's in his mid 40s, and I was talking to him, and he was telling me that his credit was like, I think it was like 560, 570, like, and I was like asking him just some questions about like his financials, and he had some debts like car payments and stuff like that, like house payments. But I asked him, what about credit card payments? Like, what kind of debt do you have with credit? He's like, I don't even have a credit card. And I was like, wait, you're in your 40s and you've never had a credit card? So I told him immediately, sign up for a credit card. I helped him find a credit card, and literally just signing up for the credit card boosted him up like 30, 40 points just for signing up with a credit card. And then so I was like, man, I really enjoyed doing this. I like helping other people do this. So I thought it would be a good topic to share with everyone.
Wait a minute, did you set him up for success or disaster?
No, I set him up for success. I just talked to him now. Like he's up to about 670 now.
Did you spit the game to him how this credit card business works?
Oh yeah, no, of course. I
Okay.
didn't just
All right.
like, and I just want to say credit cards are not going to be for everyone. If you don't have self-control, if you don't have control, it might not be the best for you. There are some cards that can help, even with people without self-control, but we'll get into that. So I just want to talk about some of the perks just for signing up for credit cards. Like depending on the type of card you get, we'll say travel cards to start out with, since that's what I originally got into it for, was to get those travel miles. Like travel cards, not only do you get the miles that you can use or the points to buy like or purchase flights, but a lot of time you get credit for like the TSA pre-check or the global entry. Like if you're doing it internationally, you get free bags checked, you get priority seating. Like there's a lot of benefits that you get into it.
I just saw a benefit and I was new to it, and Desi told me about it. There's a VIP lounge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then you have the airport lounges. Depending on the cards, some cards have that, some don't. And which is nice because if you have a VIP, if you get into the airplane, like in those airline lounges, like the
chef, baby,
it's free food, free drinks. Like
Walk
you don't
in, you do nothing.
It's I've actually been in one, and I almost missed my flight because I got so comfortable. But yeah, I mean it's cool. Like, I mean, you get to relax. It's a lot more comfortable chairs and all that. But yeah, there's so many benefits. And if they lose your luggage, they'll comp you for I think up to $2,000. Like there's so many different benefits just for having an airline credit card or a card that provides points for an airline. Then you have your cashback cards. Like there's a bunch of different types of cashback cards.
I got
Ones that you
cashback.
can do. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's just like it sounds. Like you pay this amount, like you'll get a certain percent cash back. And credit cards make their money off of two things: people paying interest, and people like purchasing things, and then the stores will pay them to use their cards, and then they get the cash, and then so some of that cash back that they get, they give to the people. That's where you get that cash back from. Yeah, and then some are like you kind of rotate up. Like you can be 5-6%, where it rotates to like, oh, I want to spend it. If you get six points for gas or for groceries or restaurants, and you can kind of adjust them. Or some of them are just straight up 1%, 1.5%, 2%. But yeah, so that's another good card to have. If you're someone that has poor credit, though, a good card to start out with is a secured card.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like,
yeah,
it's
so
like a catch-22. Like, how do you get credit if you don't got credit?
Yeah, so if you have bad credit, those are the
Or
kind
no
of
credit.
are going to be the or if you like you don't really have your short credit or no credit, like you're starting out, or if you have bad credit, you want to start typically with a secured card. And what that is, it's almost kind of like a debit card, like a prepaid card, because they usually require you to put down a certain amount of money. So say you put down $200 as a deposit, that's going to be your credit limit. So if you want a higher credit limit, you could put like $1,000. Like my friend, he had the money to do it, so he put $1,000 as his deposit. So he had a $1,000 credit limit, and that just kind of protects the issuer of the card if you don't pay your monthly payments. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like when you're at a apartment and you have your safety deposit that you put at the very beginning. But yeah, so far, do you guys have any questions or anything like that?
Man, so you started with the traveler's card, right?
Yeah. Well, technically I started with just normal bank card. Just my parents got me it like early on, and then I got like an American Express for gas. But then when I actually was getting my own cards, was travel card.
Who taught you about credit?
Yeah, that was my next question. What did you do? Like, where did you go? What did you read? Or
I just searched around, man. I just, like I said, at first it was just trying to learn how to fly cheaper, and then I just went into that rabbit hole and just kept looking into more and more about credit cards. And
did you ever run into debt?
Yeah. So I'll get into that too, because that's going to be a topic that we're going to get into, is paying off debt.
I just want to know from your experience, was it always A1 from the beginning? Like you knew how to handle a credit card? Because majority speaking, I don't know how to handle a credit card until recently. And so I want to know, did you like off day one, I have a credit card, I know how to handle this, and it's been smooth railing, credit score up the wall?
I would say for me, it was a little like I did know what to do. Like I mean, I knew I was always good about my money, but there were times where I did put a lot on it because I had the wedding, like my wedding and my honeymoon, and then we had to get cars. Because unfortunate situations where we had to get the cars, so it did rack up, and it did take a toll on my credit for a little bit, but I was able to boost it back up.
Yeah. So the reason I say that, because I've been in debt to where I can never pay that off. Like it was always like rolling like the bare minimum, and then like you said, something comes up, boom, I gotta use it again. Right? So I'm back, my balance is back up again. So it's in that rabbit, then that like little loop, right? To where you're always like really
it's a cycle. It's a cycle.
Not paying it down. You're always so like high balances, and never seems to never go down.
Cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So before I get into paying off debt, I just want to say like why I feel. I mean, besides some of those, all those things that I mentioned, things that I like about credit card over like a debit card or cash is you have fraud protection with credit cards, or you have like if someone steals something, you can actually get reimbursed for that. Whereas in cash or debit card, if someone steals your money, it's gone.
It's trash.
You can't fight that.
Your wallet's
Like,
gone.
huh?
If you lose your wallet and you carry cash, it's gone.
Exactly.
So I want to know, like, did your dad ever give you advice? Did you, bro, like, you just knew how to handle a credit card?
No, I mean, no, my parents gave me advice, but that's not the advice. I mean, I didn't really listen to to be honest.
They told you, don't get a credit card. It's good.
Well, no, because they were like, don't get too many credit cards. And for me, I was like, if you're smart about it, I mean, if you want a decent amount of credit cards, because it's going to help build up your credit line. But we'll get into building credit, but let's talk about the paying off debt, like Victor had asked about. So when I was trying to pay for the wedding and the honeymoon and all that, like I did have a lot of help. I'll say that, but I still had a lot of debt because that stuff is not cheap. And so I started looking into ways to pay it off, because like you said, like you feel like you're constantly paying, but the debt just doesn't go away. I mean, you have people, a lot of people have read. Go ahead.
That's not a credit problem. That's a money problem.
Yeah, that's a budget.
That's a
problem.
money mindset problem.
Yeah.
We can go, Vic.
Oh, sorry. So I wanted to say that. That's what I was going at with me, is that I
Same
didn't
here,
know
Vic. I'm with you.
how to manage money. Money was a little different, right? So I've been reading like recently, just knowing how to making money work for you, kind of like similar to credit cards, right? So you're saying, hey, misconception of credit cards is they're not all bad. It's not the credit card itself, is the user, right? That mindset of don't have that financial literacy of how to make this work for you, right? Instead of you thinking money is something that comes and goes and nothing, that's it, right? That's it. I'm going to work for 30 years, make some amount of money, and then, man, I pass away. I'm here. I'm done. That's it, right? So money, I'll never really attain to something, right? I'm not gonna leave anything for my kids or my kids' kids. It is what it is, type of mentality. And so I think a lot of folks from hearing this saying, "Oh, credit card's not all bad," but you gotta understand, you gotta have that. Like Chris said, you gotta be smart about it. So in other words, you gotta educate yourself, right? Like we always say, right? If you know the game, go find the game, read about it, do something. There's resources out there. So one of the things is be financially literate. A lot of people that come from our background, or I know for sure my community, like my family, no financial literacy whatsoever, like nothing, right? All that there's really nothing out there, and they don't teach that in school either. Like they don't teach you how to manage your money or nothing like that, right?
Why do we get in debt?
Skills.
What's the one reason why we all get in debt?
It's because we spend what we don't have.
That you live above your means.
So there's two problems. Yep, there's two of them. Here's the reason why we have a vicious cycle of I'm gonna pay off debt, get in debt, because once you think you pay off debt, you think you made it to the promised land, and then something happens, emergency happens, car breaks down, tree hits the house, something happens, you're right back in it, brother. Like you're right back in it. Tough times, the storm is coming. All right, so there's two reasons why people, including myself, for a very long time, get into that vicious cycle. 75% of Americans are in debt because two reasons: they don't make enough money. And the second one is living above their means. Which one? What are you going to do about these two problems? Because the credit card is not the problem. Nothing is the problem. You got two things right here that's causing you to be in this vicious cycle. Like it doesn't matter if you pay off your credit cards. Haha, great job. you're still right here at this foundation of a problem. You need to either increase your income, and what did most people do? They're waiting on that promotion, or they're waiting, like they're gonna work harder, and still, like if you do get that promotion, what's majority of general people, what kind of promotion they normally get? Like just to speak in general, blue collar, what is it like
2%?
Is $1.25?
If not even
Dude,
that, like just 2%
like,
usually.
is that really going to
Depending-
change your income? Is that
Yeah.
really going to change your whole life situation? No.
Nope.
And then so what's the other thing you need to do? Like, bro, you need to look at everything you're paying for, and you start living under your means. Like, we're so wanting to live the life we want right now to sacrifice being broke every month or
And a
getting
problem-
that vicious cycle.
And a problem with a lot of people too is when they do get that raise, or even if it is a substantial raise,
Bruh.
they're like, oh well, I need to treat myself.
That was
Like,
me, baby.
Spend
Get it
more.
to
Yeah,
more
so
debt.
like it's called the income creep. So like, yeah, you're paying, like you pay this amount when you're at this level, but as soon as you start making more money, you start buying more expensive things. So you're just
Keeping
in the
up with
same
the
cycle.
Jones.
Yep.
I did that every year for 10 years, brother. It was bad. It was nasty. Oh, but wait, we're gonna make more money, bet. Boom. And then
Yep.
bro, you go out to eat more.
Yep.
All right.
Oh.
And a lot of people don't understand inflation. Like, if you notice, like we're talking with my wife a couple years ago. I was like, man, I probably earn more now than I did like 10 years ago. But like, why don't I feel like I have more money? You know? And then people don't think about inflation. Like, things get more expensive over time, correct? And so when you think about these things, you make more money. Don't buy more things. Don't get that more expensive car, that new car, or like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself to a new car. You're not treating yourself at all. You're not treating yourself at all with that big new house. That
you digging your grave again, brother. Are you digging your
Exactly.
own grave again?
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, well, let's get back on track and talk about paying off debt, and that once you're in debt. So there's a few different methods that are out there. Like, I mean, the most common one that you hear about is like the Dave Ramsey likes to promote is the snowball effect. So with that, you make a list of all your debts, and you put them in order based on which one has the lowest amount of like debt to the highest amount of debt. And then you want to pay the minimum on all the higher ones, but the one with the lowest amount, you want to put the most on that and pay it off as quickly as possible. That way it's like a psychological victory, because you're like, oh, it's like one checked off the list. So it makes people feel good that they're paying it off.
Wins.
And then, yeah, it's those small wins. So then when you pay that one off, you add what you were paying on that to the next debt. So if you're paying the minimum, you're gonna add the minimum. You're gonna have the minimum plus what you were paying on
Give me
that
some
first.
examples, Chris. Put some numbers out there. Say that.
So like, if you had like,
$50 a month.
say you had $500 on one card, $1,000 on another card, and then we'll say $2,000 for like an auto payment. You're gonna pay off that 500 first. Pay it off as, let's say you could only put down $200 a month or whatever. You'd put the minimums on the car and on the more expensive card, and then the rest of that budget, what you budgeted for, is going to go onto that lowest card, the $500
So you're
card.
overpaying that $500 card.
You're overpaying that one, so that way you can knock it off quicker.
Okay, so let's put some numbers on it. So say you're overpaying that card by what did you say, 200?
I just was using 200 as an example of what you can afford to pay in bills or in debts like a month. So yeah, that's what I was saying. So we'll just say like you have a $50 limit for the car payment, like a minimum of, we'll just say 100, or let's make the numbers a little bigger so it's a little easier to. So say you have a $300 limit of what you can afford to pay. So you say your car payment is 100, which I know is really low, but you're going to pay the minimum 100 for that. Say the two credit cards, you have like $25 minimums, $50 minimum, whatever. You're going to put the minimum on that on that highest card, and then the rest of that of your budget of the $300 is going to go onto that card with the lowest amount of debt on it. And then once you pay off that card, since it's a smaller amount, you pay that off. That number you're just going to add to that next lowest debt. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. So you're saying, so I have a card payment, $100, right? And I got another 2 cards that I paid $25 minimum on, right? But my total budget is $300. All right. So $100 goes to the card like normal. 25 goes to the other card, right? So that's 125. So I have what, like $275.
175 for
right.
Yeah.
So, 175. I'm gonna put on that first card so I can pay it off quicker, right?
So 175. And then now you pay it off. So now you go to that next card. You got 175 plus 25.
Yeah.
So now you got $200 on this card.
Yeah.
You pay it off, and now you got 225, right?
And then you have the full 300.
And then you got the full 300 to pay on that next one. So it just accumulates. You knock it down pin by pin by pin by pin is the more traditional route. But I think that's strategic.
So that's the way that
Dave Ramsey.
Most people recommend, because it's of the because it makes you feel like you're accomplishing something.
The credit card hater.
Because like Vic was saying, I feel like I'm always paying. But the more effective way, or I shouldn't say more effective, the more efficient way is to pay the debts that have the higher interest rate. So say you have like a credit card that has 26% interest on it, another card that has a 19% interest in it, and then you have your card payment is like 4% interest. You're going to pay off that credit card that has 26%, because you're going to save more money doing that with the interest that you pay over the lifetime of those loans than you would doing it with the snowball effect. So that's, and I don't know if I said it, but it's called the avalanche effect.
Yeah, I did that with when I was paying off my debt. I started with that. I had a department store, retail store credit card. That's what I did. I actually looked up which one had the highest interest, and that's when I tackled the most. And the one, it was New York and Company. It's a ladies store, and so I can never pay that off. And I was like, what the heck is going on with this card? And I saw the interest rate. I was like, golly, no wonder. So I paid that one off first and never touched it again.
So the difference between those two, you got to know who you are, right? If you feel like you need small wins, like little wins are going to help you keep you going. That approach is far way better than the avalanche approach, because avalanche approach is going to take longer for you to pay off that bigger payment. But it's the most strategic approach where you're going to be saving money on that end, right? So if you feel like you're in a more advanced with money and you read and you got someone on your side and you got some accountability, you got people on your side, I would choose that strategic approach, which is the avalanche approach versus the snowball approach. Snowball approach does feel good because us Americans in society, we love
instant gratification,
baby. Instant gratification. So if you know that's you, go ahead and go with that snowball.
And then there's also, it's becoming more common that people are just getting out loans now to pay off their debts, but it has a lower interest rate. So they put all their debts onto one loan. So say you have a credit card that's 25%, another credit card 18%, like whatever those numbers were, and your car payment was, we'll just say at a high interest rate, it's like 8%, which is really high, and then you can get a loan for like, we'll just say $30,000 to pay it all off at 6%. You might as well just pay all those off, and then just pay that one loan off with 6% interest instead of paying one that has 25, one has 18, one has 8.
The third option kind of requires you to have good credit.
Yeah. So
okay.
the interest rate that is the one downfall, is the interest rate that you get while doing that will depend on your credit, and you may or may not get approved for that. So that can kind of hurt your credit temporarily if you don't get approved for that. Even if you do get approved for it, it's going to take a dip, but it'll go right back
if you're
up.
in credit card debt, it's not the option for you anyways.
Yeah.
You don't got good credit to begin with. So that's why it's the third option.
And then the last option I wanted to say, though, is if you do have a little bit better credit, but you have debt,
is for mama. Ask your parents for money.
No, it's
your tax return.
Try to get well. You could use tax returns by that. It's actually
that's what we all use, brother.
Yeah,
exactly. Let's be honest.
I don't mean to go off track, but that's my cycle.
Go off track,
and then boom, debt.
Go off track, baby.
I think a lot of people do that. Yeah,
the card goes back up, and then boom, tax return. I'm like, oh, it's finally gone. No,
but bro, how much money I got every year with all these kids? It was like 6 to 8 G's every year, and I'm like, get in debt, I'll pay it off. Get in debt, I'll pay it off. Man, can you just imagine if I would have just saved that money? Right. Oh my God. I look back and I'm like, oh, what an idiot, bro.
But yeah, the what I was gonna say is if you have a little bit better credit, you can apply for another credit card that has 0% interest. So like with a balance transfer for like usually between 12 to 24 months. It's usually about 18 months. And that way you can, whatever the credit line on that card is, you can transfer money, or you can transfer your debt from one of your other cards onto that and just pay it off in like increments and not have to worry about paying interest on it as well. I actually did that. Yeah.
This is my own ignorance or being uneducated, but when you do the transfer, some cards have a fee. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. So there's a certain total, like it's either like they say like $5 or like 4 or 5% of the
balance moving over
of the balance, but over time you're still saving a lot of money, even though you're getting charged that fee.
Now, is it worth it if like I have a credit card that's 28% interest and another card that's 26.667% interest? I mean, yeah, like I guess like math wise in the long run, yes, but like short term goal, is it worth me moving it over if it's just like small?
Depends on how much debt you have and like how. I mean, it will benefit you because you will have 18 months or whatever to pay it off without accruing interest, and so it does save you a lot of money. And like we're talking about, you keep like you feel like you're still in the cycle because you're constantly getting interest on those payments, or like on that debt when you make payments. That way you're not getting that extra interest, and it's not adding on to what you already owe. So that's why if you have a little bit better credit, that is a good option to do.
So what's this noise we hear about? There's good debt and bad debt.
That's a whole other topic that we can get into another. That's more like owning a home is being in good debt.
Good debt,
I mean, credit card debt is considered bad debt, but it doesn't have to be if you utilize the credit cards, right?
Man, I just want to say, people who are listening to this, right? They want better credit. Then you're giving them two options: avalanche or snowball effect, right? The real answer goes back to the money.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously try to avoid
like
getting
that's the strategy. The strategy, yes. Like you're never gonna get out of debt if you don't understand the money part. So hey, if you're listening, I get you the snowball effect and avalanche effect. It sounds great until you start budgeting on your money and you realize you don't even have money to pay your credit, right? Or the minimum. You're just like, here goes the minimum again this month. Hopefully next month's better. Like money's not gonna magically appear in your bank account. You're going to be in the same situation. So you got to make two moves. You got to find another way to make income so that way you can have more money to pay off your credit, or you get rid of all the things you have that are unnecessary and you go minimalism. That's the approach I went, and I went with the minimalism approach. I said, baby girl, that's what we're going to do. Let's get rid of literally all this crap that we think is the American dream. And let's re-engineer everything we thought we had. And so living on your means allowed cash flow. That allowed monthly coming in the month. I used to have a chunk amount I can now put towards emergency funds, which we probably should be talking about before credit. You need to build up your emergency funds, because the reason why you keep using credit cards is because you ain't got no money for emergencies. Like, that's the number one reason something's going to break down. You ain't got no emergency funds. You don't even have $1,000 in your bank account. So you got to have cash flow coming in somewhere. Increase your income, or literally 2 steps, bro. What are you going to do? This credit thing sounds great, but I remember being in that vicious cycle, and there's paycheck to paycheck. I can't pay my credit, obviously, which is why I'm bad debt. Like, I know the snowball effect sounds cool and all, but I don't got no money. I barely got money for groceries coming up next week. Like, that's the mindset that I had, and majority of us are in that same situation. It's the paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of going back to the same thing. Just find some education on money, right? How to manage money. Like, I posted a little bit on IG about
was that you that posted that?
Yeah,
I was gonna ask the text that. I was like, that was fire. I love that post. That was a good post.
So in my post, and I'm all into that right now. I'm all into that, deep into that right now. Is creating assets, creating like a money-making asset, income generating, right? Like Jay said, make more money, right? So, but how can you create an asset that makes money for you, right? Where you use your money, use your own money that you have from your primary income, put it on something else that creates money for you. So then that pays your liability, that pays your credit card, that pays your bills, that pays everything.
And so that's a whole topic on its own.
Yeah.
There's so much into that. I don't even want to get into that, because
I'll give you an answer.
We could be here all day.
I'll give you an answer right now. It's gonna help everyone out. If you're in debt and you're paycheck to paycheck, you can't see a way out, go get a financial advisor. They don't even they want to help you out. Like, they have all the knowledge. It's nothing upfront cost. They're trying to develop a game plan for you to get out of your situation. That was step one.
You have to be careful with who you select, though, too, because there are a lot that they're just trying to get the biggest paycheck for themselves as well.
Dog, they can't get no money if they can't get you out of a hole. And what are you trying to do? Get out of a hole. You're gonna be in the same hole. You got to go get help. Of course, they got to make money too, but
of course,
it's gonna benefit you. That's gonna benefit them. It's a win-win situation, my man. And that's the mindset right there. Oh, they're gonna get me with this, and this.
Well, and it's not even that. I'm just saying you have to be careful about who you select, because not everyone has your best intentions in mind. Man, but yeah, I mean, it is smart to get a financial advisor, because they know a lot more than any of us know about.
You got to be careful with everything, Chris. You got to be careful who your friends are.
Well, exactly. But I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah.
Don't let it stop you from going in a financial advisor. Number one.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, do your due diligence.
On the list is go use your network, find out who's been good to who, and go get some knowledge about money. And they're going to help you dig yourself out of a hole, come up with a game plan, because they're not going to get paid unless you can figure out how to make money. And so it's a win-win situation for both.
All right. So the last thing I wanted to bring up was actually building credit. So if you have poor credit, or you don't have very much credit, or you just have a short-term credit, I'm just going to go over a few things that can help you out so you can start growing in that sense. Well, first thing, like I mentioned before, is the secured card, because they'll allow you to, if you have poor credit, you can get a secured card, like I mentioned, where it's like a prepaid card, and then if you don't pay on time, they can deduct it from what you owe, and then your credit line will drop until you pay that back. And then you have like things like Experian Boost that's popular right now. I mean, it doesn't help for all credit bureaus. I think it's just for Experian, but you sign up for it, like you can get an instant boost just for showing like you're paying your cable bill or your phone bill or utility bills, just different types of bills. And then there's one that actually just an option that I just learned about is you can actually, it's usually more like at credit unions or smaller banks, but you can actually get a credit builder loan. And what that is, it's almost like setting up a savings account for yourself. So like say you want, like you get a loan for $10,000, they're not actually giving you any money, but you're paying back, you're paying them, you're putting money in each month until you get that $10,000, and then you get that loan. And so it's like, I mean, it's not really a loan. It's almost like teaching you to save money, which so I thought that was actually kind of cool. And it will, and they can report it to the credit bureaus to help you boost your, to boost your credit. And one thing that a lot of people do that you shouldn't do unless you absolutely have to is people cancel their credit cards. That is a big mistake. I mean, unless you have like a high annual payment and you're not using them, or you have a bunch of, like, I wouldn't recommend department cards, department store cards, because I mean you could only pretty much use them there. Except for like, I think Target's a good one, but besides that, I don't really recommend those. But if you have credit cards, and especially if they don't have any annual fee, there's no point in canceling them, because one of the things that they look at is your credit age. So if you're canceling especially you don't want to cancel your oldest card. If you're going to cancel any, don't cancel the oldest one, because that is going to really hurt you as far as your credit age goes.
But Dave Ramsey told me to get rid of all my credit.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, well, that's what I mean, he has his own methods, but I'm just sharing my opinion. Like, and it's helped me out, and I've helped other people out. So, it just. But like I said,
I really don't agree with Dave Ramsey. He helped me
a
lot.
He has some things that are really beneficial. Yeah.
Dave Ramsey is all about getting people out of debt. That's always
Yeah.
Another thing is, like you, Vic, you said your mom told you, like, when you make a payment or when you buy something, pay it off fast.
Yeah.
When I was actually signing up for a couple credit cards, I was talking to the banker that I was applying with, and he actually told me you don't want to pay it off right away. Like, if you want to pay it off in full, don't get me wrong, if you can, but you don't want to pay it off until closer to the due date of the bill of your statement, because the credit bureaus need to see that you're actually putting money on the card. So if you're buying something and you're paying it off right away, the credit bureaus, like, if depending on what day they're looking at it, usually either beginning of the month or end of the month, it's going to look like you haven't even been using your card. So it's like, oh, he doesn't know how to handle credit, because he's just not using it. He's just trying to get the credit line to.
Let me stop right there, because I think this part right here is probably the most important piece. If anybody's listened to this podcast about credit, what's the game when using credit? Spit the game. The game is just what you just said just now. Like, how do you be successful at using credit cards? I don't think we really just dug into that, because, like us, we just make payments, and unfortunately we don't get to make the payments, and our credit goes to crap. But how do successful people with high credit scores use their credit cards?
So you got to kind of think of it as like almost like a debit card, but with an extra step. Like, you just have to, like, because obviously a credit card, it just deducts the money from your account. You just need to make sure that the money that you're putting on your card, you can pay it off. Like, so don't pay for things. I mean, obviously there's times where you're going to need to, emergency funds, all that, but for the majority of the time, you want to try to pay it like you'd use like your debit card. Like, oh, I have this amount of money, I can't go past this amount. And then when you want to try to stay under 30% of the utilization of your credit. So if you have a $1,000 limit, you don't want to really be going over $300 if you don't have to.
So, Chris, this is what I was researching, and this is how the game is played. I don't know, you tell me. This is what I've been listening and reading, is that if you're going to play the credit card game, whatever you use that month, you pay it off in full the next payment.
Yeah.
That way you never pay interest. You still get all the benefits. It goes on your credit. So if anybody listening out there, is that how the game is played? Because I think they need to hear, if you're going to have credit cards, the smartest way to play the credit card game is you have to pay it off the next payment.
Yeah. So you want to pay it off right, like typically right before it's due. That way, the credit bureaus can see that you're putting money onto it, and
What's
they
the
can see
point
that you
before it's
actually.
due? Why can't you just pay it on when it's due?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, or on the day it's due. That's fine too. But I mean, just to be safe, so you don't forget it a couple of days before is typically what I do. That way, the credit bureaus can still see that I am using it, but I'm responsible with my money. I'm still making payments on it.
Yeah, that's how the game is played. If you can't play that game, it's probably best interest you play with credit cards. And it's easier said than done, because if you have that broke mindset like I did, we rely on credit cards during emergencies, school closed, something comes up, brother. That credit cards are a must. And so that
I
goes
mean,
back
and
to,
everyone has those. I mean, even I have those moments where I put a little bit more on them than I should, but I still, if I don't pay it, I mean, I've pretty much tried to pay them all off. But
it's just best practice.
even if I mean, yeah, as long as it's manageable, like you're not going too crazy with it, then it's gonna help you out.
Yeah, I think that that's what people struggle the most is that they just swipe.
Yeah,
swipe.
they have
can't
that.
see
They
it.
have no impulse. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's impulse. Like they just
Yeah,
want to buy, and that's the toughest part. It's like that finding that balance. Most people don't have that control, and that's where you need to work on yourself when it comes to your spending.
Man, did anybody learn anything new while they were researching credits?
I know actually those two ways of paying off debt. I didn't know what they were called, to be honest with you. I
Snowball,
knew,
avalanche.
yeah, I knew the first. So I did the snowball. Now that I know, I did the snow. I've done both actually. I did the snowball for my credit cards, and then I did my personal loan. I did the avalanche where I just boom, just paid it off. And so I did. I guess I did both. But I learned as far as what they're called.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But I didn't know also about that credit card you mentioned about you can transfer the balance to.
The balance
Transfer
transfers.
balance. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and that's like one. I don't know what kind of credit score you have to have for that. Like, I mean, it might depend on the type of card you get.
Yeah.
But you need to have a little bit better score to be able to do that.
Ian, what'd you learn?
Too much. No. I don't know.
Main takeaway, my man. Like, what's that main takeaway from you researching or listening to Chris?
Research wise, which is how to pay it off. I didn't know the names of them either, but just the way people do it. What's funny is I used TikTok as a method of research, just because there's some people on there who are financial advisors and share stuff. One gentleman was saying that if you can and you should do a payment 2 weeks before the due date and then on the due date. So it shows 2 payments for the month, one early and then one on time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That works too.
Scooby-Doo.
No, it's funny because now that I think about it, that's what I do. But when I was told, like, they recommended just making sure that you pay it by the end of the month. You don't want to just pay it all off at once, like right when, or like pay them off as soon as you as you make the payments.
For me, that method would work because I get paid bi-weekly from my job.
Exactly.
So if I use it for that, for those 2 weeks on groceries or gas, on things I would normally use my debit card for, when the paycheck comes around, if I handle my money right and live within my means or below my means, then I'll have the funds to just put the money back or pay the money back to my credit card without incurring any type of interest or anything like that.
So that's what I learned. So here's how my money works. It funnels into one account, and then I have like 6 different accounts that it funnels into. Like, you have your mortgage, you have your gas, you have your fund money, you have your savings, you have your tax. Like, it just funnels all through these accounts. And I just use my debit card for everything when I could be utilizing a credit card for everything that I spend, because the money's there. The money's there. So I can use credit cards that could benefit me on all my groceries, my gas, and then when that payment comes, the money's sitting in the account right there. It doesn't move.
Yeah, you're almost losing money
Like,
using
I'm
a debit
like-
card or using cash, because we were talking about cashback cards. That's free money that you're getting. Just
I've been losing out
just
on
to
all
be
the
spending
benefits,
money.
dog.
Yeah.
I'm about to go credit card shopping. I'm about to give me some flights. Like, bro, I'm about to go all in because I just
And I do want to mention
if they have a
too,
credit card.
and I do want to mention too, like if you do have multiple cards, you want to, like I actually had told Ian about this before. I was like, even if you don't use it much, just put like one bill on it. So like
Netflix,
just so you're
Hulu.
you're utilizing it. So like
Yeah.
say like you have your cable bill, you can put that on one card, and you don't have to use it, but you have the credit line from that card. And then you have another card, you're paying your Netflix or Hulu, whatever. And then that's just another card that you're adding your credit limit
Chris
for,
be
and then
living
that's
here
gonna
with all these benefits and these credit cards. I'm over here paying cash, paying cash for everything. I'm not receiving anything back. And so that's what I was learning. I was like, man, I'm losing out.
Well, you didn't know Chris
like
used points to buy his house?
I wish. But like I had said in the past, like I mean I used all those points to get us first class tickets to Europe for our honeymoon. So
I
We
think
traveled
that's
to
gonna be
yeah,
my
I'm
next card is probably like a Southwest card because I
a
actually
card, yeah.
I used some extra funds I had to settle a bad credit card that I had. Like it was just beyond fixed. So I settled that. I paid that off. It closed. My credit went up. So from that credit increase, I got another credit card with Capital One. And I was surprised because I've never got anything more than a G on credit cards. This one had no annual fee, 0% interest for like 6 to 12 months.
and
these
it's unsecured, right?
No, I don't think so.
Is
I
it
don't
a secured card or unsecured? You don't have to put a deposit, do you?
know. No.
Yeah, so it's unsecured, which I
Oh,
was
okay. So that's
actually
what you meant. I didn't know.
I was
Yeah, no.
surprised when you told me about that. I was like, oh, like
layman
usually
terms,
like
homie.
Yeah, gotta dumb it
usually
down.
Layman terms, brother. Come on now.
It's
Nah,
yeah.
You're
hey,
kind of
what
like,
it
no,
was-
I'm secure.
Big
I'm
dick.
secure.
I was like,
I stay strapped. I keep one
What are you
hot.
talking
No, but
about?
like
Was
when
that
you
as
told me you
good?
got that card, I was like, dang, that's actually a pretty good card for
Yeah,
for
and
that.
like
Yeah, for what your credit was.
all these perks, and like I've never had anything. Like I maybe had a couple cards that like amounted together to two G's. They gave me $30,000 for this one, and I'm like, all right, don't get stupid, chill out. You don't need all this stuff you want to buy. So, yeah,
Next
my
thing
goals.
you see is Ian with the gold chains.
If you ain't got the money in the bank account, don't buy it because you can't pay for it the next month. That's just point blank period. It's probably the number one rule if you're listening. If you don't have the money in the account, don't buy it because you're not gonna.
A lot of people.
Payment.
Yeah, a lot of the rich people say if you can't buy it three times, then you can't afford it.
3 times over.
Yeah.
Word,
So, man, I got
stuff.
goals. I got goals for 700 credit score club by the end of the year. I'm at 640 right now.
Yeah, well, we're gonna continue to work on that. I'll help you all out, man.
Man, let's go. Let's wrap this up. Chris, appreciate
Yes.
you, my man.
Yeah,
Some
thanks,
good
man.
info.
for-
This is good
No
info.
problem,
Chris,
guys.
good info. I just want to make sure it's clear. Chris isn't a financial advisor. These are simply his opinions and what's worked from him, and him just sharing his experience with all of you and all of us to help you out. But Jonathan, what you got for the week, dude?
Hey, we got things rolling with the real estate.
Oh yeah, tell
While
us.
I had to be aggressive. Like, man, we were waiting. I hate waiting, right? That's why I wanted to become an entrepreneur because there's no waiting, but it's me. And I just got tired of waiting on, hearing back. So I was like, I started, I'm always listening to motivational speakers. They're like, shoot 200 emails a day, like get to work, like quit waiting. And I was like, all right. So I shot this lady an email again. Then I got information from the lender. And I was like, even though the lender hasn't contacted us yet, I was like, Chris, let's just meet on Zoom and make sure we have everything we need to have. So when we do reach out to that lender, he like it's ready to go. Like, here you go. Like, it's set. Like, here you go. And then our broker, here you go. Like, everything on our end is all like wrapped up and tidy and perfect. And so now Wednesday, we're gonna speak to the broker, and then tomorrow I'm gonna send off the information to the lender. And so now, after this, there's no more waiting. Like, there's no more waiting. If anybody's waiting, it's because of us or contracts or
Whatever. Yeah.
There may be some waiting, but
Yeah.
So, man, I'm hyped, bro.
So after this, it's like, all right, now we're shopping.
Yes, and I've already been
All right.
shopping. Like me and Chris started
All right.
shopping right now. We started dissecting deals because the number one reason why people think real estate is so risky is because they don't know the formula. Like the numbers have to fit. And so we went to auction.com. We're making sure the formula fits. We use the 70% rule, make sure there was equity in the property, make sure that we're going to be cash flowing. Like, so there's an actual form that you can actually do every day as practice.
Yeah.
And you fellas know, like you were given the formula. So if you literally go to auction.com, you can actually look at a house, see how much the comps are around that, so you know the value of the house after you repair it, and then you can start running the numbers. And does the numbers fit? Yes or no? Yes. Oh, bet. Let's try to get things rolling. No, it's not a good fit. Like just leave it alone. No matter how much you want that property, it's just the numbers don't fit, brother.
That's awesome, man.
That's exciting.
Sick. Okay. Vic, what you got for the week, dude?
Oh man, try to stay home. I'm just kidding. Just continue just building. I'm gonna start working a little closely with my clients with my franchise Cam Glider. So one of the things I always want to do is really help them reach their fitness goals. Right? I'm just there training them. That's all I do. I work them out, make sure they're sweating at the end of the. So now it's really getting into like knowing their fitness goals, tracking it for them, and really helping them out for the next 12 weeks. 12 weeks, just to help them out there with those goals. So I've been working on that. It's kind of like a project for me, and then just helping my wife take off on her business. The 27th is her official launch day. We got a logo already that's been it's almost being done. So it's almost there. We got a logo. We had a website. So all this stuff coming, man. It's gonna be great.
2021, baby.
Dude, like we made out of those like 5 orders, like we're pretty much out of that. The profit of that, we bought groceries.
Say less, baby.
That's
That was it, bro. I was like, that's only 5 boxes. Like we started making the math, like I don't know, like God dang, it's like I thought you're gonna be making more money than me.
start hitting that quota, put on that grind.
Yeah. For real.
Chris, what you doing for the week, man? Hopefully staying.
It was funny. Yeah, it was funny. When Jonathan had texted me about contacting those people, I was literally just thinking about hitting him up to say we need to contact these people.
It's been on my mind every day, man.
Yeah, it had been on my mind too. I was like, man, we just need to do it. But so I have that going for me. But I also my wife and I actually need to drive out to Arkansas on Thursday. So when this comes out, we'll be on the road for a wedding. So hopefully the weather is going to be a little bit better by then. So that way it doesn't take forever to get out there.
You don't have no points for a flight?
We didn't want to fly really.
Step up your game.
It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the cost for all the payments, even with the points. We didn't want to waste points just for a flight to Arkansas.
Yeah,
what you got in
your account?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, where's everyone at with their books? They're almost done.
I'm more than halfway through.
Okay.
We're halfway through the month. Nah, I haven't done. I haven't finished mine yet. Still working.
What book?
All right.
The Triple H.
Accountability.
I'm about halfway. But no, this week, ain't going nowhere. Increase the workouts from 2 to 3 that I'd been doing to 4.
There you go.
Yeah, and then work, and then stay warm. About it. It's supposed to be 20 something. What, tomorrow too? As well.
It's supposed to snow tonight, brother.
Nah, it's already.
It was snowing earlier. Yeah.
Oh, it's snowing.
Yeah, it's already snowing.
I haven't been outside. Shit.
There's snow outside right now. Go outside.
I'm just straight. It's cold enough in this garage.
Dude, I ran my 3 miles outside today.
Wild.
It was crazy.
Crazy.
Like I literally, you only could see my eyes. I had my gator up to here, beanie, like all these layers on. I was like, there.
You put up them running shoes and lift some weights.
What do you think? I lift weights, then I went 3 miles.
Okay. Anyways,
I can't tell.
Y'all, I'm cut under this thing. Y'all don't even know. I'm just kidding.
I'm cut under it too. I just got layers on top of mine. That's about it. But
Watch, when I take this off in the summer, y'all see.
Oh man.
Alrighty.
I have two quotes I want to leave everybody with because they're both just kind of stuck. One's by P.T. Barnum, so the circus dude. I don't know if you ever seen The Greatest Showman, but
Oh yeah.
great movie. But he says, money is a terrible master, but an excellent servant. And then Oscar Wilde says, a man who pays his bills on time is soon forgotten. Dang. But good info. Chris, thank you again for the information, man. It was insightful. It definitely helped me out. Everybody listening, as always, we appreciate you joining us today. Until next time, peace and love.
Peace.